Today, I'm trying a streamer loadout. I wanted to personally evaluate a specific trait on Jurassic that a handful of content creators in the community have been pumping up over the last couple weeks. Maybe you've seen thumbnails during Festival of the Lost proclaiming Jurassic with golden tricorn is the new meta with question marks all over the screen or golden text that says 0.4 TTK, which sounds insane. And well, it is. A 2-burst kill on a rapid-fire pulse rifle is obviously extremely strong. But my question today is, how viable is that really? How viable is that for someone like you and me, who probably falls a little more into the mid-range of the skill curve? These seasonal event weapons like Dawn and Festival of the Lost introduce a lot of FOMO, but spoiler alert, don't feel bad if you didn't farm for Jurassic. Alright, so first we're going to take a look at the setup it takes to activate golden tricorn on Jurassic, and then I'll give my thoughts on the trait after having played a number of matches across Trials, Rumble, and Control. Alright, so let's get our feet under us and look at the perk description for golden tricorn. Final blows with this weapon grant bonus damage. While this buff is active, grenade or melee kills of the same damage type greatly increase its damage and duration. Okay, great. So you get a kill with Jurassic and you get a 15% damage buff for 7 seconds, and then you get a melee or grenade kill within those 7 seconds and your timer resets to 10 seconds at a 50% damage increase. That is big time damage for the Crucible, and that's not even including if you became Radiant in the process or have other damage buffs in play. What most people are using to achieve this with is the weighted hunter throwing knife because it's a pretty reliable one-shot kill as long as you don't just, whiff your shot. So now that we have a clear picture of what golden tricorn does, here's a quick summary of my experience with it. Now keeping in mind my skill level is probably a few ticks above average, I gave Jurassic around 15 games. And so here are a number of my KDAs from those matches. So for the most part, I wasn't playing like a slouch and was able to perform pretty well. I actually do like Jurassic and there are some reasons I like golden tricorn, and I'm not too bad with weighted throwing knife. But out of all those games I played, I was able to proc golden tricorn ×2 for that 50% damage buff, a grand total of around 10 times.
Not great, Bob.
10 times, less than 1 activation per game. So working our way backwards to the original question, is golden tricorn a generally viable perk? No, it's not. Let me explain. At this point, I have 3 main issues with golden tricorn, and they're all kind of similar. They tie into each other at some point. And my first problem is that golden tricorn is very exclusionary. What do I mean by that? Well, your options for proccing golden tricorn, especially ×2, are extremely limited. The ability damage you get a kill with has to match the weapon type. In this case, that'll be solar for Jurassic. So that right there already tosses 3 other subclasses of possibility right out the window. Now at this point, what do we have left? Basically hunter throwing knife. That's the only reliable solar ability left because remember, you only have 7 seconds to find that next kill. Warlock and Titan melees might work at some point for you accidentally, but the odds of you landing golden tricorn ×2 is kind of small. My second issue with golden tricorn is similar to the first, and that has to do with the order. You're forced to follow a specific order. You have to get a kill with Jurassic and then an ability kill. You can't switch those up. If you get a grenade kill first or throw a desperate throwing knife just to stay alive, well then too bad for you, because you don't have a damage buff, and now you're out that ability for another 30 seconds or so, and that's if you're leaning into those stats that you're using, either discipline or strength. But ignoring the issue of order, if you do grab that first kill with Jurassic, you immediately have to book it out of cover to hopefully find your next victim and somehow secure an ability kill all within 7 seconds. Which ultimately leads into my third and final complaint with golden tricorn. It encourages you to play dumb. If you want the full effect of golden tricorn and get to ×2, you have to play like a reckless rage monster like your Kratos or have the luck of Master Chief. Now maybe you're thinking, that doesn't sound that bad. It doesn't seem like golden tricorn ×2 is that hard to proc, but let's actually break down what it wants you to do, not on paper, but actually a real scenario. So first, you have to win 2 duels, the first with Jurassic and then the second with either your throwing knife or your grenade. And then find a third person after that within 10 seconds to engage as well, and at that point, the odds of survival are just not in your favor because most times after a duel, you will have taken some damage, and 7 seconds at 1 stack does not allow you the time to recover before engaging another opponent, and while 2 stacks is a 10-second buff, which does seem like a while, it's still often a struggle to even find your next target at this point. I mean, going back to an average player in a tough game, your KDA might be 1.0. Your average player many games is going to be happy to get more than 1 kill per life in sweaty lobbies like that. Especially with skill-based matchmaking, I have games like that, and I just can't get anything rolling. The bottom line with golden tricorn for me is that it's extremely high risk, high reward, which is okay, that's part of the perk design, but it often makes you very easy cleanup if you're trying to get the most out of golden tricorn tricorn and encourages you to make deliberately poor choices in order to even have a chance at activating ×2. In my experience trying to use the tricorn build with Jurassic and Atheris Embrace, it was a near requirement to run healing grenades just so I could try to re-engage with a chance to get tricorn ×2 after my first duel. And even that's kind of frustrating because it just means you're sacrificing yet another ability to activate tricorn with, and your knife is the only ability left for you to use. Tricorn, in my opinion, just eggs you on to do dumb things like charging out of cover to find your next kill, re-engaging with low health, or just making a bad call and whiffing your knife at a target who can easily evade it. And maybe some of that's my fault, just missing a throwing knife or something like that, but then again, you just can't have patience after that first kill if you even want a shot at that 50% damage buff. Now before I continue, I want to make a couple things clear before I make my final conclusion. First, I'm not necessarily arguing against the design of the perk. I understand that there should definitely be some high risk, high reward for a damage buff that's as high as 50% for PvP. I think making Golden Tricorn too easy to use in its current state could become oppressively imbalanced. What I am arguing against, however, are the people who make the case that this perk is remotely viable on any consistent basis for the average skilled player. But at the end of the day, sweating out to try and use this build and take advantage of it fully, I was only able to activate it about 10 times. Now again, maybe someone in the top 2 or 3% can take advantage of this wild combo consistently, but that's not me, and it's probably not you either, and that's okay. Now I totally understand wanting to chase that moment and that feeling. I recently uploaded a clip where I'm wrecking house with Swashbuckler ×5, and it felt amazing, but that just doesn't happen that often. If this is the kind of perk you enjoy, and you fully understand the risk reward and are okay knowing that you may not be able to take advantage of perks like Golden Tricorn all the time, then absolutely go for it. If that's what you find fun, go for it. You should absolutely be using the weapons that you find the most fun. It's just that in general for me, it's probably not going to be saving you games or making you play all that much better. So there you have it. That's kind of my analysis of things. I just don't think Golden Tricorn is viable for an average player, and while I'm happy for higher skill tier players who can use it, I'm just not too sure that it's for people like you and me. Honestly, there's a lot more I want to say, but I don't want to bloat this video too much. I just kind of wanted to make a detailed response to some higher skill tier content creators who put out videos propping up weapons or suggesting roles that just seem highly impractical for the average player base. I work a full-time job, and I play Destiny for fun, and YouTube's a hobby on the side, so I feel that I can offer maybe a little bit more grounded of a perspective. But anyway, enough about my thoughts. What do you think about Golden Tricorn as a perk and on Jurassic Green in particular? Is it viable? Have you had success with it? Definitely leave a comment down below, and if you want to discuss it personally, drop by the Discord. I've got a link in the description. And of course, if you want to directly support the channel, liking and subscribing goes a super long way. These videos take a lot of time, thought, and work, so any support is always appreciated. And speaking of support, just one last thing before I wrap things up here, I just wanted to mention a good friend of mine started up a YouTube channel recently, and if you are into Minecraft at all, I definitely recommend checking it out. He's got awesome builds over there, and even more that I know are on the way. So if you're feeling generous with your time and want to make someone's day, feel free to stop by AirNoAir's channel. I'll have that linked in the description, and like and subscribe to his content. It means a lot to small creators like us. Anyhow, as always, thank you so much for watching. Catch you guys next time.